It's been a pretty dramatic couple of years for us artists, hasn't it? And for some of us, depending on your mindset, depending on where you're coming from, for some people it's impacted us quite a bit. And I've been able to see and be at the receiving end of a lot of people's emotions with regards to some of the things that have changed. And I want to start with something that I feel has become a more and more aggressive force against artists in general, creatives, and that is scary news. I find that, I have a daughter who's a young professional artist. I have a son who draws all the time, and he's involved in art all the time, but he's 12. He's just starting his journey right now. And I've spoken with hundreds of artists. And I've experienced in my own life, on social media, online, that, wow, social media is really, really trying to get you down, isn't it? Like on TikToks, on Instagram, on YouTube, on anywhere you go, everywhere you go, there's terrible news everywhere you turn. There's wars, there's climate change, there's artificial intelligence, there's protests, there's dirty, dirty politics, some of the dirtiest politics we've experienced in our whole lives. I'm noticing now more than ever this push to make sure your eyes don't leave your phone becoming so amazingly aggressive. I would imagine that it would be insanely difficult to pry your eyes away from it, and furthermore, not to be negatively impacted by it. And by negatively impacted, I don't mean just being sucked up into the bad news. I mean sucked up into the good news too. Being so bombarded by social media's desire to keep you engaged, to keep you doom scrolling, to prevent you from leaving, that how can that not have a damaging impact on your creativity, on your flow, on finding your creative voice, on building yourself artistically, and furthermore, just being able to do so in a carefree way where you don't feel like you have the weight of the world sitting on your shoulders. What I want to share with you today is a piece of advice that might seem counterintuitive to what you think you should be doing. And that is not to be ignorant, not to turn a blind eye to a lot of the terrible things that are happening, because if you do, then that's how bad people get voted into positions of politics, because people are just apathetic and they don't get emotionally involved. But I want to let you know that you are not committing a sin or a crime by ignoring that crap. Not ignoring it all the time, but ignoring it enough so that you can just live your life. So you can just have fun. So you can do what my daughter does, just go to the fabric store and buy a bunch of fabric because she's into quilting and she's making everybody's Christmas gifts, or hanging out with your friends and having fun and just joking around and having a good time. You can't keep yourself in this state of political and social and environmental and professional hypervigilance all the time, being hyper aware, hyperactive in these things without burning yourself out. In fact, my recent video, I was talking about how I was starting to feel the symptoms of burnout and how I learned to recognize it and how I learned to address that issue. And one of the main key factors that lead to burnout, emotional burnout, is being in a state of fight or flight, being in a state of hyper awareness, hyper proactivity, hyper vigilance, where you're constantly worrying about what's up with my kids and what's up with my pets and what's up with politics and what's up with this and is my portfolio good enough and how am I going to get an education and how do I handle my finances? And you're constantly in this state of almost emergency mode. You're in damage control all the time. And if you keep doing that over an extended period of time, that accumulates on you. That builds up on your psyche, on your general energy, and it can and will, and most often, from what I've seen in myself and other people, it does impact you in a negative way. And you need to find the discipline to be able to step back and look at your life and say, how much of this stuff requires my immediate attention? How much of this stuff requires me to I have to be active in this. I have to be fighting the situation. I have to be addressing the situation. And what stuff can you just put off for now? For instance, let's take something like politics, for instance. Okay? Yeah, there's some pretty dirty players in politics right now. There's been some, it's getting quite intense, and people are getting very caught up in that. That's fine. And every single day you see the same names in politics. You see these same jerks causing trouble for people everywhere, worldwide. I'm aware of it. I see what's going on. But I also see that regardless of what I'm subscribed to on YouTube or anywhere, that stuff gets shoved down my throat in my recommended feed all the time. What do? I actively go right around it. If something is truly, truly serious that demands my immediate attention, then it's not going to get my immediate attention. And this is not an act of ignorance or apathy. It's an act of self-preservation. It's an act of, I can't be a productive artist. I can't be an assistance. I can't bring value into the lives of other people if I'm in a crappy headspace all the time. If I'm constantly worrying about stuff. And even if I'm trying to put on a brave face and I'm trying to be strong for my students, for my kids, for my family, for my loved ones. If I have to put on a face and smile through my grimace like this in order to try to be there for other people because I'm so preoccupied with stuff, then people can sense that. So you need to make sure that you're keeping your headspace strong. Another example would be artificial intelligence. Okay, very, very stressful subject for a lot of creative people. And I don't just follow artists and illustrators and concept artists. I follow musicians, I follow actors, I follow writers, voice actors, etc. Everybody is upset about this. Every creative field. Musicians are having their voices stolen from them. They're having their sounds stolen from them. Voice actors are getting their voices stolen from them without permission and being reused to record things that are being monetized. It's pretty dirty crap out there. If I worried about that every day, if I worried about what was being stolen from me every day, if I got up in arms about every single person who uses it and I'm following the news on these evildoers all the time, then I'm not being creative. I'm not drawing. I'm not lost in my own imagination. I'm wasting my artistic and creative energy to fight wars instead of to paint pictures. And if I'm going to find any kind of growth and if I'm going to find any kind of long-term success as an artist, I need to spend as much of my time drawing and enjoying drawing as possible, and not waste that time sitting there wondering whether or not if it's even worth my time drawing because some oligarch, some tech bro company is going to steal my crap. When that happens, I'll put on the boxing gloves and I'll fight. And how reassuring can I be? What kind of a reliable resource would I be for you to find growth and happiness and success as a teacher, as a YouTuber, as anybody, as a friend? If I'm just sitting there complaining and worrying all the time, I wouldn't, would I? Okay? So as they say, pick your fights. You don't have to fight everyone. The rest of the time you want to be creative. To segue off of what I just said, and this is something that's very much, I credit my daughter Emily Duff for planting this in my head. It's something that we both have in common, but she has much more than I do. And that is an absolutely obsessive personality. Obsessive personality. I notice that artists that succeed the most are not the ones that sit around and think about it. There's artists that are so lost in their passion projects, no matter what they are, drawing or otherwise, that they live and breathe this creative energy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So much to the point where I look at artists like my daughter, I look at artists that I love online, artists that I follow online, and the first question that pops into my head, the first reality that pops into my head about all of these incredibly talented and productive artists is, where the hell do they find the time to do all this stuff? You know, I look at my daughter who's posting like 2-3 drawings a day, and she's making a comic book, this very, 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 very demanding project, and she's making beautiful quilts for people, and she's obsessing, and she's watching videos by her favorite artists and designers online, stuff that we talk about all the time together. And I'm just sitting there, and we were on the phone the other day, and I said, where do you find time for all this stuff? And she said, Dad, you don't understand. I get angry all the time. And I went, angry? I'm not used to hearing my daughter, Emily, saying that she gets angry. And she goes, I get angry because there are so many things I want to get done, and I'm always fighting my schedule. What can I fit into my schedule? What can I get done? There's so many things that need to get done. And she gets incredibly frustrated if even one little obstacle gets in the way, because she needs to salvage every minute she's got to creating things. How does she do that? And furthermore, how did I get myself into that headspace? Because I've gone through periods in my life where I just didn't feel like drawing a damn thing. I just didn't feel creative at all. Nowadays, I'm drawing every day, every chance I get, on the weekends, in the mornings, in the afternoons. Every time I can get 5 seconds to draw, I'm drawing. What gets an artist into that headspace? Well, for starters, it's actually doing something. It's not thinking about art, it's doing it. It's drawing all the time. And you draw yourself through the artist block. You draw yourself out of the funk. You use art as a tool to find creative inspiration. You don't get creative inspiration with this. You get creative inspiration with your hands. The actual physical act of drawing. Furthermore, pick a theme. Pick a subject. And go with it. I've spoken so many times in the past about, especially once you get a little bit older and you've had a couple of years experience and you've had a chance to explore and dabble in a lot of different things, because dabbling is very, very important. That just exploring different subjects to find things that hook you artistically. Once you find that little hook from all of this experimentation that you do as an artist, once you find something that goes, ooh, that really feels good to me, glue yourself to that, adhere yourself to that, and go, I'm going to grab that momentum and I'm going to build off of that. There's an aesthetic, there's a style, there's a subject, there's a certain artistic principle, there's something, there's a tool that I just love using. I express myself really, I'm very happy about the way I express myself using this technique, this tool, this theme. Like for me, dark fantasy illustrations, right? That kind of theme that I can't stress enough. Exploit that theme to death, because that's the building block of your voice, of your style, of your consistency. Obsess over that stuff. My studio with my dark black walls and my gothic gallery wall over here, and the very moody, calm, cozy Zen aesthetic that I've got going on in the studio. I don't just do this because it's an interior design style that I like. I do it because it creates this cozy, creative mindset. When I walk into the space, my brain just switches on. My creative energy just clicks on, and I build on that. And the lovely, lovely thing about you as an artist, one of the things that makes you as an artist so incredibly beautiful and valuable and exciting and engaging, it'll blow your mind how much you can create in a short period of time. How many things you can create, redesigning your studio, your fashion, going to a thrift shop and spending $40 and buying 10 cool pieces of jewelry and clothing because you have this design aesthetic that you love, and going and thrifting some cool old vintage frames and drawing tools and pencils and books and stickers and all of these creative things that you can build on. It's mind-blowing how much you can accomplish in 1 year. When you find that momentum, when you find that hook. Contrary-wise, when you don't, when you're just kind of wishy-washy, floating around, waiting for that inspiration to come, not really doing anything, trying this, trying that, not committing yourself to anything, you can get nothing done in 10 years. I've been there too. Okay? So to add a little kind of point 5 to the last comment about obsessing. Find something to obsess about. Artists need to obsess, and it needs to be an all-encompassing obsession. On top of that obsession, don't let guilt get in the way. Every artist gets derailed. They go through relationships that consume too much of their energy. They get caught up in the wrong thing, and it knocks off their momentum, and they don't know how to get themselves back again. They haven't yet learned a system to get themselves into the groove, etc., etc. They have financial struggles, so they don't know what kind of job to pursue, or they have an art job that they can't stand, and it's consuming all of their energy, and they don't get anything done, and it knocks off your momentum. All of that is totally normal. It is part of the journey, my brother and sister. So it's fine. It happens. People sometimes take decades off from art, and then they come back stronger than ever. I've seen it a million times. When you're an artist, you're always an artist, but sometimes life happens. When it does, let it happen, get that out of the way, and then every chance you get, try to pull yourself back into your drawing again. And you're going to notice that that time didn't matter. You got back into your groove, and all was well. And you picked up where you left off. You didn't cease to be an artist just because you needed to take a little bit of a break. Okay? But the better you get at this, the more of a system that you do have, the more of a rhythm you've learned, the more all-encompassing your life is, the more it pulls you back into your art. To add to that, it's very important as an artist to make a clear distinction between things that you love and things that you're compatible with. This is something I've spoken about in the past. What do I mean? Well, there are a lot of artists out there that are really, really good. They're beautiful work. They might do fantasy card illustrations or more commercial illustrations, or they're fine artists, or they're sketch artists, they're pencil artists, they're creatures designers, you name it. There's all different types of artists out there. And in every field, there's always going to be those people that have a brand, that have a style, and they have a skill that it's just magical to watch them. And that, to an artist, can be incredibly seductive. I have a lot of friends in the industry, a lot of fellow YouTubers and students of mine who are absolute grandmaster artists. They are phenomenal. And they're also incredibly wonderful people that are inspiring, that produce inspiring content that I love to binge on every chance I get. But I avoid them like the plague when I'm in my creative headspace, because their work is so seductive. It's so beautiful. They've got such a clear voice and a clear brand that I envy that. I desire that for myself. So I allow myself to try to imitate what they're doing. I allow the wrong things to influence me. And that can make me lose sight of the thing that I'm best suited for. In fact, this reminds me of, I don't know if it's recent, it might even be one of his most recent videos, but Sam Does Arts posted a video recently where he was talking about social media mistakes that he's made in the past. I don't know if it's an older one or new one, it just ended up on my feed. And one of the things he said really, really clicked with me. He said, when it comes to your brand, don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about the popular things that other people are doing. I recommend watching that video, by the way, because it's fantastic. Every piece of advice he gave was really good. He said, at a certain point, you have to say, okay, screw this noise. Do what you care about most. Find your voice, draw, practice, get lost in your own creative endeavors. Very similar to what I'm saying here. And when you do that, that's when you start to get the practice, that's when you start to get really good, and that's when you start to find your brand, you start to find your voice, you start to get known for things. Don't allow outside forces to pull you away from what you're best at. Just because they're popular doesn't mean what they have is going to make me popular. Because we're two different people. We have two different voices, we look different, we sound different, we're just different people. So you have to be true to yourself. You're going to know if you get caught up in the wrong content. Because you go back, you try it out, you test out this style for yourself. Again, I'm talking about artists who are a little bit more established, who've been doing it a little longer. You're a little bit past the dabbling in different things phase. And when you dabble in that other thing, it doesn't turn out the way you like it. And it does something psychologically to you where you feel turned off of your art. You feel discouraged. You feel incompetent. You feel like you're no good. You thought you were good, but now you're realizing you're not as good as you thought. And furthermore, you find yourself falling down this rabbit hole of trying to find your quality again. And you get discouraged and you start scrapping your artwork because you don't feel you're going anywhere with it. And it's almost like every single time you try to get up on the bike and pedal, somebody comes and knocks you off the bike. And you have to keep getting yourself back up again. And every time it takes you longer and longer. If you find yourself in that place right now, artistically, where you feel like you've been derailed from what was at a certain point a good momentum, chances are you got seduced by the wrong artist. You got seduced by the wrong content, and it pulled you away from your personal voice. And that's why for me, there are only a very small, select handful of artists that I will learn from, whose gumroads I'll study, whose brushes I'll test out, whose techniques I try to learn from and integrate into my own stuff, to content creators that I listen to YouTube, general YouTubers that I listen to. I have a very, very small curated list of them. And those are the ones who I feel have a style, have a voice, have a technique, have learning processes and systems in their artwork that are compatible with what I already do. They're not so different from me that I have to basically start over and rebrand myself from scratch, because that is completely discouraging and incapacitating. It completely knocks the wind out of my sails, and I don't know how to get myself out of that. And the only way you can actually get out of that is to realize that you allowed something toxic into your process, something that didn't belong, something that was incompatible. Maybe you were making a chocolate cake and it was tasting really good, and then somebody squirted mustard on it and it ruined the recipe. You need to realize, I took the wrong turn, take a step back and go back to that last success you had and say, okay, where was I back then? I was in a very good headspace. Let's go back down that route again and pick yourself up from there. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work. Sometimes it might take a couple of days or even weeks to kind of get that momentum going again. But you will get yourself back into the right headspace. And when you do, you're going to realize all was fine. And hopefully you'll recognize at that point, this is where I screwed up. This is the thing that I should have admired at a distance, but not get too heavily involved and influenced by. To add to that, in the video that I posted 3 years ago, I spoke about ego. Your ego can be a very, very fragile thing. And I wrote down right here, okay, something that I remember reading recently that I thought was really powerful and that I wanted to share with you. And that is, remember that obstacles, the ones that we're talking about today, these roadblocks that we run into, are part of the learning experience. They're part of the journey. We're supposed to hit these obstacles. Obstacles are, if you have the right mindset about it, if you put your ego in check, are the very tools that you need to self-discover, to explore yourself. Every single time I find I hit a roadblock, and I hit roadblocks every day because I draw every day, so I hit a lot of obstacles all the time. I'm always pushing myself. Whenever I hit a roadblock, no matter who you are, I don't care who you are, that roadblock, that obstacle, that inability to execute something, and maybe it was even something you did fine the other day, but somehow you lost momentum and today you're just not in the flow. When that happens to me, I have learned to swallow my pride and say, okay, Adam, what was it that you did today when you sat down to draw that screwed things up for you? Was it a part of your process? Were you experimenting with a different way of getting a drawing started and you forgot about that fundamental? You forgot about that simple technique? Was it the settings on your tablet because you're testing out a new tablet and the brush settings are all weird and now you're trying to adapt yourself to new brush settings? What happened? What threw you off that made your attempt at drawing something today not work? Did you go too fast? Did you jump into it too quickly and not be thoughtful enough? So you kind of had this sloppy start to your drawing and then that just ended up having a domino effect on everything that you did after that. You weren't in a creative building mode. You ended up in damage control mode with your drawings because you screwed up at the beginning and now you're paying for it through the rest of it. And when that happens, I've learned to have the discipline to be able to sit back and say, okay, slow down. You jumped into that too fast. You didn't have a solid enough rough sketch. You kind of jumped in. You just wanted to pull something off really quickly. You threw a dart in the dark and you were hoping it was going to hit the bullseye and it didn't. Okay. Put that aside. Come back. Start over. Don't pick up your pen and start drawing like an idiot. Think first. Visualize what you want to draw. Okay. Take your time with it. Step back. Analyze what you just drew. Is that okay? No, it's not. Okay, well, what's wrong with it? Well, the shape's kind of it's kind of boring. Ah, okay. So maybe I need to go online or just be more mindful of elegant, interesting shape design. And then I'm drawing and then I go, okay, the shape design's fine, but I don't know. This isn't clicking with me. Ah, maybe you're so caught up in technical execution that you're forgetting one of the most important factors to drawing, something that Anthony Jones talks about all the time. The cool factor. Draw for the cool factor. Is this cool to look at? Is there something interesting and unique about it, or are you just being technically solid? Oh, yeah, you know what? This shape isn't doing anything for me. It's just a boring shape. It's not talking to me. I'm not feeling like I'm doing anything interesting. It's just some other boring, stupid old thing I do every day. Okay, step back. You see how much I have to backpedal and revisit myself? And you're talking to a 50-year-old artist who's been doing this his whole life. I have this internal dialogue all the time with myself. It's very, very common. Okay. And once I start to slowly pick away at these little thorns in my process, I get the flow going. And once you get that flow going, baby, you're good to go. It's a lovely feeling. And I'm going to close on this last one. Remember that everything I'm talking about today is not an indication of mine or your incompetence. You're not successful enough. You do tend to get too caught up in social media. You are obsessed over AI, and you have a very, very thin skin, and you let things get in. Oh God, I haven't drawn in 2 years. I'm wasting my life. I still live with my mom, and I'm 32 years old. Oh God, I'm such a loser. I can't get my finances together. Blah 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 blah. We've all been there. We've all been losers. I've been a loser many, many times. There's many things I'm not proud of. Okay? So, welcome to the club. But we have a little visitor. This is somebody who wasn't there 3 years ago when I posted the first video. Can you get by? Here we go. I'm sorry. We have to pause for a visit. Gimli, you gonna come here? I'll move my mic. Are you gonna sniff everything? I'm in the middle of recording something. Remember, okay, that all of these things are totally normal. Everybody's a loser. Everybody's awesome. Everybody sucks. We all have days where we flow. We all have days that we don't. However, I want to leave you on a quote that I absolutely love. Boats don't sink because of the water around it. Boats only sink because of the water that gets in. Remember that you're a human being, and being imperfect is what makes you perfect. And with that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.